All right, guys, and we're back. Thank you again so much for listening to the Dog Trainers Podcast. This is Season 2, Episode 8, our interview with Miss Kaitlin Kane Stankowski. Ooh, I said that right. I got that right, didn't I?
Good job.
Awesome. Okay, so diving back into it, what we really wanted to ask you was, now that we've covered not only all the online content that's out and some that will be out, and your unique ability to be able to really make things make sense to an owner on like an empowering and on a feeling level, not just like an analytical like head knowledge level, right? Mm-hmm. Would you have some advice maybe for newer trainers who have a difficult time explaining to owners the roles that like genetics of a dog play, or managing a dog, even if it's already trained, and sometimes you just, dogs aren't always perfect, and mm-hmm. and something like that, obedience versus behavior and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think the groundwork for that starts prior to the dog even coming to the trainer. And I think that's what is immediately going to make the process more easier for the trainer, but also more successful for everyone involved. Because I think a lot of the times when we're first starting, or say someone just reached out to me, I need to get them in, we need to work with your dog,
right, is
what was that groundwork that was then supplemented prior to even bringing that person on board? And what I mean by that is, trainers sometimes getting into this like, oh yeah, we could fix that behavior with your dog. Mm-hmm. But while you might be able to do something with someone's dog, is the owner going to be able to do that at home? And that's something that I always try to think about before even bringing a client on. But then obviously you still have to have those conversations once you do bring the owner on. So I think that if trainers can look at things from, obviously their expertise is working with the dogs, but how can we connect it to a human? And that's why I always try to give people parallels of things to really look at and consider. So I'll always give hey, think about it. If you go really consistent for 21 days with your health and fitness, and then day 22, we're going through the drive-through again. Oh, and then the next day we're, adding in this. And over the next 2 weeks, you see either the weight put back on or feeling
sounds like
just
my life.
Froggy. Right, like the yo-yo. I always talk about the yo-yo diet, where I've done bazillion of those. Oh, I'm going to do this for this long, and then once it's over, and it's like, oh, okay. Again, I know I don't fit into those pants again. So it's like, I try to connect with the owner and try to tell the trainers that I work with and talk to is connect with the human. Find a way that it's sometimes you're going to get some of these tough personalities of people that aren't going to connect very good. But if you continue to bring yourself through, and also don't let them bully you. That's where it's yes, they're the client, but the client's not always right. They're hiring you to help them with their dog. So I've had to at times tell people, if they're questioning, I'd say, all right, let's take a step back and remember that you are looking for my help, and I want to help you get to the next step. Let's have this conversation. Basically, don't talk over me. And I think that comes with growth as a person first. So with other trainers that are struggling with that, is also look at your relationships outside of your clients. Do you have good communication skills with your partner or your parents? And if you don't, it's not that we're looking for perfection, but if you can feel better about yourself in general in your mind, you're going to be able to come through with that more.
100%. No, also I had this thought, and this is something. So the podcast kind of serves as because the internet is a confusing place for people studying dog training or learning dog training. We always wanted to kind of serve as a mentor, right? It helps us kind of guide people. And if we don't have answers, we bring people like you to come on and help give answers via a podcast. And so, we're of the mindset that every trainer coming up in the game shouldn't do it alone. They need to have a mentor. They need to find someone locally that they can ask questions to and bounce ideas off. And also, experienced dog trainers need to be willing to help the next generation, right? And there's always a little bit of a fear of breeding competition and helping people. But the reality of it is, the way we look at it is there is no scarcity when it comes to dogs. Everyone, there's always going to be dogs that need training, and there's always going to be different levels of dog trainers. But we were discussing this the other day, where every young dog trainer should have a mentor. And we just wanted to see what you thought about that.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. And even if like it doesn't start as what you think is like a
Mm,
mentorship, at least having someone that can be a good
mm,
sounding board of like there's even another local trainer where me and her do pretty much the same exact thing, like a board and train out of our houses, off of our properties. We've gone to similar stuff. And I don't look at it at all as a competition. I look at it as there are plenty of
mm,
dogs to go around. Like we could go and do outings together. Like we talk about things where it's like, hey, I've got this dog that's doing XYZ. Any thoughts on it? Of just like being open and supportive of other people, even if we're not doing everything the exact same way, or we don't see eye to eye on everything. It's like, can we be open and supportive of
mm.
other people in our industry with hopefully the same goal that we all have, is helping people, helping dogs, and sharing the reality of what balance training is and how it can shape relationships that you've never seen before with dog and human. And I think that having people, whether they're online or locally, is so important to be able to have those relationships, because at least you guys are also kind of growing together through that process.
Right. Well, I think, honestly, I was thinking about this the other day, and you just like solidified it in my, like I do this weird thing where people are talking and I'm like, I'm trying to extract what I'm feeling from it, like trying to put words to it.
What are
And
these feelings? What are they?
yeah, and like, and as you explain, what everybody should know, right? Like there's plenty of dogs to go around, and if you get better, there's no reason that, like I shouldn't be nervous about that type deal. And what I was gathering from that was like, myself personally, I'm a super competitive person, but I look at it in a very positive way. Like I want you to get better because then I get better. And if you get better to me, then I can like do what you do and I get as good as, and it's this fun,
Yeah.
it's like a game, but a
Mhm.
game is a game and we can all be on the same team, even though we're competing. And,
Yeah.
and as I was listening to that, you know, I've just been really happy lately with this diversity in dog training. Like I love that. I
Mhm.
really love your message. I really, really do. And
Thank you.
I love that training is just getting bigger. Like now dog training has gotten so popular that there are like marketeers, and then we had Brett Bailey who was like a life coach, and we had friends from Ecuador who one of them also was a
Psychologists.
marketeer, but one was a psychologist, and
Mhm.
like I love that there's all
Yeah.
these different people now coming into dog training, and the message is broadening, and it's just awesome.
Yeah, it's powerful, because I think that if we just have one tunnel vision thought,
Right.
like we're always going to have a tunnel vision thought, and then this just doesn't work. That'd be like us saying all dogs are going to, shape up the same way. It's not reality.
Right.
So it's like, why would we expect that from humans or from trainers or anything like that?
Right.
It's beautiful because in essence, what we're doing, we're reshaping dog culture. You know what I mean? Like 30
Hmm.
years ago, dogs were outside and they were animals. And 30 years from now,
Hmm.
people are going to know a lot about dogs, like a lot, a lot. And
Yeah.
it's,
30 years after that, people are going
Yeah.
to be outside and we're going to be animals. And,
yeah, yeah.
dogs
The dogs will have thumbs.
Seriously,
Yeah.
something
Yeah,
wacky is going to
yeah,
happen.
something crazy. So I want to go ahead and wrap this interview up. I really appreciate your time. I know you got a busy day and busy schedule ahead of you.
Thank you guys.
You're very, very, very welcome. You're welcome back any time that you want.
Right.
We love to. In the future, we are going to be having some like panels of, different dog trainers to come and discuss certain
cool.
things and topics. So we'd love to have you back on.
Yeah.
We always ask this question, and this started back with Tyler Mudo. And the question is, if dog training is an art form, right? And that's why it's there's different interpretations of it, et cetera. And so the question is just been refined to this. So let's say you're an artist, right? What tools in your artist toolbox allows you to be Kate Kane from Kane9dogtraining to be the most effective that you can be?
Oh, loaded question. I like it.
Yeah.
So, are you looking at from an approach of
Anything.
working with the dogs, or?
No.
Whatever you
think.
in the broad dog training spectrum makes you special,
Yeah.
makes you individual.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to sound cliche, but I truly do think it's being so comfortable with who I am now that there is no other Kate. And that's
Mm,
not a brag, and that's not
mm,
because I have so much area of growth to
mm,
still have, and I'll never stop learning. And I think that's why I'm going to continue to be successful, not from a monetary or how many dogs I train, but like from being a human, being a person that can hopefully continue to inspire people, is I know that I'm imperfect, and I know that I have value, and I know that like I'm very confident with who I am, and knowing that everything that we do is a journey, and I can connect to people in ways that I feel like I haven't ever before. And I feel like I had never felt that connection to someone of the way that I connect to some of my owners and some of my, friends and family and stuff like that. So I think that authenticity of who I am, with knowing that continued growth is something that I have to work on every day, not only for helping other people, but being the best person for myself so that I can show up for other people. So I'm always going to keep authenticity in my toolbox.
I love that. I love it.
Awesome.
Oh, I love it so much and I love the take on it, as you grow up, just as a human, right? Like the more self-aware you become, the more empathy, compassion you have for other people. And I remember, I've been doing this for 13 years now, and I remember being the hothead know-it-all. I remember being the owner enabler, like I went through these pendulum swings of just like as you mentioned earlier, like this wasn't helpful and the other extreme wasn't helpful. But the more you worry about yourself, the more you work on your own weaknesses, the more confident, the less judgment you have as you're going through the process of dog training. And I think that's extremely powerful, because people can feel it when you're judging them. People can feel it when your tone is different, or you become impatient with them, and which also leads to burnout at some point, because you're frustrated with all your clients that want to give you money, and you're like, this is messed up. I used to tell Mariano, I'm like, these people want to. I have 4 or 5 board and trains. I just don't want to do them. I don't want to do them because it's just.
Bro, people are smart. People are smart. It's like we talked about the other day. You can't sell people and you can't bullshit people because they know. And if you're trying to hide what is obvious, like if you're frustrated and trying to act not frustrated, like we all know what that looks like. They know that you're mad, and they know that you're trying to not show it, and it comes across as disingenuous and weird. And that's that whole thing of just be upfront and give people the benefit of the doubt that they're capable of reading emotion just like you.
100%.
Right? And definitely, I think that works really
100%.
well.
Yeah, and I think that a huge portion of that is also getting really good at obviously communication skills, but also boundary setting, where we should stop making this like thought process of perfection, because I think that's something that's going to be what continues to keep owners unsuccessful, is creating this vision of perfection. Like it's not reality. But then also at the same time, being able to say like, hey, you can continue to make progress and grow with your consistency and your hard work, but also understand that you're going to have shitty days, and that's okay too.
Right.
And I think that the more that we can just be real and like realistic with good boundaries with both dogs and humans, this dog world and this world in general will just be a better place.
Amen.
Totally.
Amen. So we really want to thank you, Kate, for jumping on with us. We're actually going to do a live right after this, maybe talk a little bit about this episode to tease it. So we really appreciate you jumping on. You guys need to go ahead and check her out. If you don't check her out already, go ahead and go to Instagram or any social media. It's at Kane, Kane, the number 9, dog training, Kane9dogtraining. Check out her website, Kane9dogtraining.com, and also check out her 2 ebooks that are out, and look forward to her online courses coming out in the next couple months as well. Again, we thank you so much, Kate, for jumping on. Those of you guys who are listening to this podcast, make sure you guys leave us a review on whatever podcast platform that you are. It helps us show up more naturally in the searches. And again, this is season 2, episode 8. My name is Brent LaBrada. That guy is Mariano Alvarez, and we really appreciate you being on, Kate. And we'll see you guys in episode 9. Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Dog Trainers Podcast, a podcast created by dog trainers, for dog trainers, or anyone who's ever fallen in love with man's best friend.
We really hope that you enjoyed this episode and can't wait to be back with you guys. Be sure to follow us at Dog Trainers Podcast on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And don't forget to punch the hell out of that subscribe button and leave us a review.
Remember, guys, this is your podcast. You're the best listeners in the world, and we'll see you next time.